The ever asked questions, how to start a career in cybersecurity. So this difficult question, this confusing questions, everyone who wanted to start in cybersecurity or has specialized in cybersecurity has asked himself or herself this question before starting. So let's break this down, guys, and try to answer this question with all the ways possible. Okay. So I have divided this into two, let's say, two aspects. The first, the skills you need. So here you see the positions or the pathways and the skills you need, and also the other aspect or the other side of the career, which is information security and positions and the skills. Here in other tab, I listed how to start with everyone, with every position, okay? So guys, let's get started with this one over here. So cybersecurity pathways, I mean, they all break down into 5. If I forgot something, you can just put this in comments. But I've listed the most used positions: cybersecurity specialists or penetration testers or whatever the naming interchange. Actually there are many idioms that are used interchangeably. So let's start with this. So we have the cybersecurity pathways and we have information security pathways, and these two terms are very different. Okay. So we have first security analyst, security engineer, security architect, whatever the name is. Regularly, the security engineer works in blue team settings, which is defending organizations, okay, protecting systems, safeguarding data, okay. So regularly, security analysts, okay, start by having university education plus security certifications. Now, the university education part could be computer science, computer engineering, information technology. It might be engineering field, might be those guys who started out some engineering field and then they figured out that why not to start in cybersecurity. Of course, this is not the correct way of starting in cybersecurity, but I mean, including me, for me, I started as a biomedical engineer and I figured out that I need to work in cybersecurity. So you can switch, but you must have university education to start your career in cybersecurity. At least you get hired. Then you need to get some security certifications. Okay. Now, security certifications are very wide. There are many security certifications that you can take and sit for the exam. But one of the security certifications, let's say, that are administered by EC Council or by there are many vendors like Cisco Cybersecurity Operations, CompTIA. There are many vendors of security certifications. Okay, so make sure you have the first way is to have university education plus some security certifications to get you hired and start in security as a security analyst. Now, the next way possible, which is having some security certifications plus projects. What I mean by projects is if you have developed some, or if you have some, let's say, YouTube channel, okay, or if you have a blog teaching. Of course, I'm not talking about blogs who copy paste and rip off other people's contents. I'm talking about blogs who provide value for people who search for security in the internet. Okay. So blog is a project, okay? YouTube channel is a project. Anything that has value is a project, okay? Could be university projects. So having, I mean, projects, okay, or security projects you have developed and worked on, plus some security certifications, um, might, okay, might get you through HRs without having university education, okay? I'm not talking about all HRs. Some HRs are very strict on university education, okay? I mean, some of them, I mean, enforce the image of the company and some of the compliance laws that all the security experts or the security staff need to have university education. Okay, not all of that, not all of them, but if you have outstanding projects, it might get you through HRs. Now, so, or you can become security analyst by stepping from network administrator or system administrator. Why? Network administrator is the person who works with network devices, routers, switches, hubs, firewalls, even firewalls. Okay, so the network administrators understands the concept of networking, TCP, IPs, routing. I mean, all of the aspects and topics that Cisco certifications teach. Okay, so network administrator might be promoted or can work his way up to security analyst, mainly network security. Now, or it could be system admin. Now, system admin can step up into being security analyst. Okay, mainly it could be IT security engineer um, who maintains the security of servers, patch management, etc. So these are the basics of stepping up into security analyst or getting yourself hired as a security analyst, security architect, engineer. Now let's talk about penetration tester or the person who works in the red team. Now, as we see, he can have university education, preferably in computer science, okay, plus security certifications like CompTIA Pentest Plus, OSCP, OSCE, EC Council Certified Ethical Hacker, EC Council Licensed Penetration Tester. Well, it could be CISSP, although CISSP is a management cert, but it could be. Now, he can have that, or he needs to have some security certs plus projects. Okay, now we explain what the projects are. Or he could be system admin. Now, why system admin? He can be penetration tester or he can be security analyst, because system admin is the person who is familiar with server administration. Okay, he can administer Linux servers, he can administer Windows servers, he can administer cloud servers. So this person understands the inner workings of operating systems from the server level. Okay, now if this person ups his level with some security education or some security certifications or some security readings or security experience as an entry-level job, he can become penetration tester. Okay. Now he could be developer, software developer, web developer, because a penetration tester needs, as we're going to explain later, needs to have skills in figuring out vulnerabilities like web attack, like the vulnerabilities that explode in web attacks or in binary attacks. Okay. Now let's talk about malware analyst, reverse engineer. Now this guy is a tough guy. Of course, if he has university education plus some security certifications like administered by SANS Institute, they have some security certs for malware analysis. I cannot recall the name, I'm sorry guys, but yes, SANS, they offer certifications for those who seek the position of malware analyst. Now, it could be certs plus projects. Now, projects here, it could be, let's say, an online website that scans and reports on malwares like VirusTotal. Having these kind of projects boost you enough to get this position. Okay. Software, he can be software developer or engineer, of course, because software engineer or developer has at least 2 programming languages in his pocket. Okay, and the malware analyst needs to be fluent in at least 2 programming languages, especially those like C, C Sharp, assembly. Now, software engineer or developer can become malware analyst because he has the expert to analyze source codes and understand low-level operating system languages like assembly. Now, he can be expert C and assembly programmer, as we will talk about later in the skills required for becoming malware analyst. Now, expert developer. Of course, expert developer, he can have university education, plus he must have programming experience. Because, of course, This one over here, University Education Plus Programming Experience, gets you entry-level job as exploit developer, because exploit developer is not only he doesn't only figure out or unleash exploits. He develops exploits. So he needs to be fluent in programming, and he needs to be fluent in managing and figuring out vulnerabilities, analyzing vulnerabilities. That's why programming experience with university education might not be enough to get you, um, let's say, mm, a senior position or a senior level expert developer. It might get you entry level. Okay. Now, if he has or if he's expert programmer with projects like bug bounties, he has participated in many bug bounties programs, he can land a job as a senior expert developer. Now, he can be a web developer or he can be a software developer. Of course, being a web developer or software developer lands you an entry-level job as exploit developer, not senior position, because being a web developer or software developer, of course, you understand the source code, you understand the inner workings of the back end of any binary or of any website, but this doesn't mean that we can create and craft exploits that could, hunt bots on the web. That's why it might not get you senior position as expert developer, but entry level. Now, computer forensic specialist. These guys are the government guys, most probably. Now, a computer forensic specialist, he can have university education, plus he must have certifications in forensic, like EC Council, computer hacking forensic. And there are some certifications offered by SANS in forensic. Now, certs plus projects. Having certs might not be enough, but having additionally projects beside that, like let's say developing some kind of program that recover files, or let's say recover deleted files and some kind of that. Now he can be system admin, but this is very, it's low probability being promoted or stepping from system admin to computer forensic. But it could happen. System recovery specialist, this person has the expertise, enough expertise to recover files or deleted files from the system without the need to use software. Okay, this person might have experience using in-case forensic, FTK imager, and forensic softwares. Now, OSINT specialist, open source intelligence specialist. Again, these guys could be government guys or government agencies. Now, these guys should have university education. They must have university education in a related field. It must be computer science or computer engineering. He can have security certifications from any of these, okay? Or he can have research experience in security field, okay? Now, this is, new field, open source intelligence. It's not widely known, but some people are getting into this field. Now, let's go to now the skills required for these pathways. Now, we talked about how to start, what you need to do at the basic ground. Now, let's talk about the skills you need after you know from where to start. As a blue team specialist, you need to understand how to work with security information event management devices, okay? Which means firewalls, log devices, intrusion prevention systems, intrusion detection systems, log analysis, log aggregation. Log aggregation gathering all the logs from all the network devices into a centralized place for analysis and identification. You need to be familiar with network devices. Examples would be Cisco ASA firewall, Bluetooth firewall, or Bluetooth proxy device. It could be Splunk, log analysis. It could be FortiGate firewall. Yeah, network devices. You need to be familiar with all of these devices, all of these names. Okay. Web-based attacks. Why? Because while you are gathering information and analyzing logs, you might come across an attempt to exploit SQL injection attack or an attempt to exploit cross-site scripting or denial of service attack. So you need to be familiar with these web-based attacks. Effective communication. Why? Because you need to work with many tiers inside the security operations center. You might be tier 1 who identified the incident. You might be tier 2 who analyzes the incidents. You might be tier 3 who analyzes the malware or the root cause of the incident. So you need to have effective communication, and of course you need to report to your manager, who is the blue team leader. Okay, we're going to talk about this. Now let's go to penetration tester. What are the skills required? Cyber kill chain. Cyber kill chain are the steps or the chain that any hacker goes through when he first starts attacking his target. Okay, which means information. You need to be familiar with information gathering, reconnaissance, vulnerability identification, fingerprinting, binary grabbing, gaining shell access, privilege escalation, network scanning and discovery, vulnerability identification. We talked about that. Metasploit, of course, all of you know Metasploit. Research, BOFs, which is buffer overflows. Yes. Why? Because when you demonstrate to your client that he has some loophole, okay, or he has some weakness in his system that had you being able to have root access to the system, it could be some kind of executable file or outdated application in his system that is vulnerable to buffer overflows. So in some situations, you might end up finding yourself exploiting some outdated app with buffer overflow in order to demonstrate to the client that he has a serious problem with his system. Now, malware analyst or reverse engineer, what he needs? Threat intelligence, which means that he needs to be familiar with all the platforms that report on malwares or incidents, debugging and disassembly, uncovering the source code, analyzing the source code, code reviews, and understanding the low-level language of any executable file. Assembly language, of course, in order to understand the low-level language or CPU, C, of course, BOFs, because the malware analyst or reverse engineer, he might be required to scan or review an executable file or a project program for vulnerabilities. Okay. Now, dynamic analysis and static analysis. Static analysis is analyzing the file without executing it, which means gathering as much information as possible about the file. Dynamic analysis is monitoring the behavior of the malware, okay, while the malware is in action. After you open the malware, you monitor the behavior, you monitor the network connections established, you monitor the registry entries created, whatsoever. Now, the expert developer, what he needs, actually, this is the most difficult from my perspective. He needs to be a bug hunter because basically it's self-explanatory. He needs to develop exploits. Code review. Expert developers might be needed to review codes before releasing the source code or the program into production. This skill is, crossed with malware analyst. Python, C, assembly, PHP, the series that doesn't end. And BOFs. Now, what a computer forensic specialist needs. Of course, this guy needs to understand all kinds of operating systems, Linux, Mac, Windows, and the server versions. Why? Because the computer forensic regularly and usually he needs to understand or he needs to analyze what happened in the system. Okay, so in order to understand what happened to the system, we need to understand how to work with the system before the incident or when the incident happened. Network foundations, of course, because the forensic specialist might be required to analyze a log or a packet to look for indication of compromise. Okay, this happens mostly with Wireshark or log analysis. Cryptography, steganography. Why? Because sometimes when you have a system, okay, that belongs to a criminal, and you believe that the system has some information or some data that might prove that the criminal has committed the crime. But these files are encrypted or are hidden inside other files like images, which is steganography. So you need to understand cryptography and steganography in order to uncover these files. Analyzing logs and packet analysis. OSINT specialist, what he needs, a savvy expertise in research using Multigo. So all of you know the Multigo, the intelligence tool in Kali Linux. You need to understand log analysis because this might have traces of the person that he is trying to identify. Social engineering. This helps him so much when he is gathering information about some person and tricking him to reveal some information. He might need to be skilled in social engineering. Now we talked about the skills needed for every position, and we talked about how to start or from where to start. Now let's go to the other side of this field, which is information security career pathways, management and governance, and how to start. Well, look, guys, many people jump from cybersecurity to information security and information security to cybersecurity. So if you're here, you might go there, and if you're here, you might go there. It's up to you, but it happens. You can do it. So let's start with how to start as an information security specialist. Now, we have here the blue team leader or senior security engineer incident response team lead. Now, this guy, he is the manager of the blue team. Okay, he is the manager and the senior leader of this team. How to get there? Promotion. Okay, you might be promoted from an existing position as a security analyst. Okay, now you might get hired as security leader or blue team leader when you have the enough expertise of being blue teamer, okay, plus you have proven record of effective management skills. It could be certifications, by the way. I forgot to add this. Or you can have master of cybersecurity, master of information security. Preferably to be master in security field, plus some experience. You can get hired directly into blue team leader. Now, the other side of management is compliance expert. Now, this guy is responsible of making sure that the company, okay, or the client is compliant with the data protection laws in his country. Okay, he needs to be expert in law. So the only way that I saw someone is hired as compliance expert is being from law background or having law education. If I'm wrong, you can correct me. Security auditor, he is the person who audits a company or a client for compliance with security standards. Now, how to get there? You need to have university education plus security auditing certifications. Example, certified information security auditor. So you have it, guys. Every vendor who provides security certifications, they must provide security certification in auditing. If you have this, plus university education, you might get entry-level job as security auditor. Now we go to risk assessment and governance specialist. Now this guy, he's kind of big head. He needs, if you want to become risk assessor or governance specialist, you need to have business expertise. or need to come from business background. Now, the first way is having Master of Business Administration plus Security Management certifications, like Certified Information Security Manager. It could be Certified Information Security Auditor plus MBA. It could be EC Council Chief Information Security Officer. These kind of certifications. Having this kind of certifications plus MBA could land you a job as governance manager or risk manager, risk assessment. I mean, there are many terms to say this. Now, the second way is enough expertise with one of the above. Okay, if you have like long experience, like 5-6 year experience being in a position of one of these, plus you stepped up your game and applied for governance certification or risk analysis certification, it might get you a job in risk assessment or risk assessment manager, governance manager, etc. Now, the master of all of this, the Chief Information Security Officer, Chief Information Security Manager. Now, this chief he should be, I mean, he must be big head, you know. So, PhD in security field, okay, could land you a job directly as information security officer or manager, or master in security field with long expertise in security management. So you got your master degree in cybersecurity. You started your job as pen tester, blue team analyst, or blue team leader with enough experience, with enough proven record of understanding business requirements. The board might decide to get you promoted into information security manager or officer or whatever. Or long expertise, as we said, plus security management certifications. So you don't need to have PhD or master. You can have long expertise, one of the above, plus you have past recent security management certs like CISSP, CISSM. Yep, could land you a job as information security officer. Or you could be IT director with long experience, like 10 years, and you have passed one of the security management certs. Now we talked about how to start. Let's talk about the skills, the actual skills. As a leader in your team, you need to have all of the skills that a regular blue teamer has. Okay. Plus, you need to have proven record. Not like listing in your CV that you are a problem solver and you are a critical thinker, whatever. Proven record. I mean, you have references, you have recommendations. So if you have these, plus you have the expertise of all of the above, you might get promoted. Sorry, not promoted. You can be blue team leader, and you need to have the ability to manage security projects. If your firm has, has too many clients, you need to understand how to divide every client on. You need to understand how to prioritize every client. You understand how to execute security projects. Okay, and you need to understand how to lead your team to respond to incidents that happened with your clients or your firm. And you need to steer and direct security awareness and training. These are the skills required to be senior blue team leader or manager. Not easy, guys. Compliance expert. Now, the skills he needs to be expert in security laws, not marriage laws. Okay, he needs to have law education, and additionally, he needs to have expertise in security laws that is tied to the country he's living in. Country laws, international standards, and regulations. I mean, this is all law education, guys. Security auditor, what he needs to know. ISO 27001, fluency in this, the standard for banking industry, the HIPAA, which is for healthcare industries, GDPR, data privacy for European countries, NIST, and law. These are the skills required for security auditor. Now the governance manager. he needs to understand how to analyze risks, whether it is IT risks or it is natural risk like disasters, fires. I mean, these kind of natural disasters that could, I mean, destroy all of data centers in one minute. And he needs to analyze all of that, score all of these risks, and recommends kind of patch or solution for every risk. Strategic steering of security programs, information security program development, and security policies. Okay, some of you guys might say that strategic steering of security programs, developing security programs, and developing security policies are the core responsibilities of the security or information security manager. They are not the core responsibilities. They are part of his responsibilities that are shared with the governance manager because they both understand what the business needs, okay, and how to employ and use security for this. Let's go to the Chief Information Security Officer or Information Security Manager. What he needs to know: leading security department. Leading security department. Okay, it's not only dividing tasks, and it's not only saying to your, team what to do every day. It's about strategically planning to use your team and their skills to effectively profit the client or profit the business, or at least save the business profits. Directing security operations. Directing security operation, which means that, as we said before, if your company has many clients that your team needs to secure, you need to understand how to direct these operations with the lowest, with the lowest mistakes possible. Managing communication with media. So let's say one of your clients has been breached. You need to manage the communication with the media about what happened. This is also not easy, guys, because it is the matter of representing your company. Aligning security programs with business objectives. These 6 words, as they are simple in writing, but they are not simple in meaning, which means that aligning security program with business, which means that you need to know how to employ security, okay, without affecting productivity, okay. So the productivity has to do with your business operations. Security has to do with protecting these operations, okay, keeping everything in safe hands, okay. Now, aligning security programs with new business objectives means that you need to write security programs, okay, develop security policies that your team needs to follow in order, not in order to secure data, but in order to profit the business, in order to serve the business needs, business objectives that are agreed upon with the board of directors. Here you have it, guys. The skills you need for every position in these 2 fields and how to start. Now I'm going to share these 2 diagrams with you guys. I think I'm going to share these as a screenshot, okay? And as we know, guys, just if there is any mistake or there is any suggestions that you have, just throw that in the comments and I will be grateful for this. Thank you so much, guys.